Welcome back, Flare community. I hope you're all well and having an incredible day as always, and in today's video we are celebrating. Yes, over 3 years ago was the launch of the mainnet, the Flare network, and we're celebrating the 3rd anniversary. Now, if we go over to the Flare Explorer here, you can see that block number 1 was actually minted 3 years ago, July the 13th, 2022 at around 8:30 PM, and that's my local time. Now, what a journey it has been, 3 years since the launch, and I'm very happy to have you all here along for the ride. I know many of you have been part of this journey from the very start. Some people are new, and either way, it's a pleasure to have you here. Please feel free to like and subscribe because I will be providing a lot more content and tutorials in the coming months and years ahead. So the Flare team have actually created this anniversary article summarizing everything that they've achieved in the past few years and, more importantly, what is to come. So if you do want to give this a quick read, I will leave a link below, but if you want to stick along and listen to me read this to you and maybe give you some of my insights, then we're going to jump straight in. Flare at 3 years old, powering a connected and data-rich DeFi ecosystem. 3 years ago, a vision for a more connected, decentralized, and data-rich Web3 began with Flare mainnet launch. Today, we celebrate Flare's 3rd anniversary, and it's hard to believe how far the network and community have come, with that original vision now coming to life in the form of a rapidly growing, interoperable ecosystem. We are truly grateful to our vibrant community, developers and infrastructure providers who have been with us each step of the way, and that goes out to you guys too. This article summarizes where Flare stands today and looks back at Flare's major milestone, moments that remind us how much we've grown, while also serving as a reminder for all that is to come in 2025 and beyond. Where is Flare today? A journey to decentralized data and finance. Flare Network is more active than ever before, with record on-chain numbers and serving as home to a bustling DeFi ecosystem. The numbers speak for themselves, and we're going to run through some stats right here. 40 million blocks produced on the Flare network, 240 million total transactions, 3.9 million wallet addresses that have been created, 445,000 daily transactions, and that's very impressive. An average block time of 1.8 seconds, and over 73% of FLR circulating supply is staked or delegated to support the network. This essentially means that there is not much on exchanges. The FLR that is in circulation is actually being used. Each of these stats represent real usage and real value being created. They also reflect the cumulative efforts of the community and Flare team in conjunction with the major milestone moments that led up to the present day. Let's take a look closer at the milestones along the journey from its ambitious origins to its current thriving state. And we do know that the Flare ecosystem and core principles have evolved over time, and for the better in my humble opinion. So let's look at the Flare flashback, the defining moments. Flare's journey began with a clear vision to bring smart contract capabilities and decentralized data access to a wider range of blockchains, especially those like XRP that lacked native smart contract functionality. They talk about the original concept and the white paper, which released pre-2021. The initial groundwork for Flare was laid, focusing on decentralized data acquisition and robust smart contract execution to enable trustless access to off-chain data for on-chain applications. In September of 2021, we saw the launch of the Canary Network, also known as Songbird. The launch of Songbird, Flare's Canary Network, provided a crucial live testing ground for new features, upgrades and protocols in a real-world environment. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Songbird, this is the Canary network, which is different from Coston, which is the test network. Songbird has real value, and as a result, bad actors have some sort of incentive to try and extract that value. And it's a bridge between going from Coston, a pure test network, where no one has the desire to try and hack it because there's no value there. It's a stepping stone, which I wish more people would use, but yeah, hopefully we will see more participation on Songbird in the near future. In July of 2022 was the Flare mainnet Genesis block. The foundation launch for the Flare blockchain itself, initially in observation mode to ensure stability and decentralization. And that was an interesting time for those who have been around since then, and it's just incredible to see how far we've actually evolved since. The public token distribution event started on January the 9th of 2023, and we know that this is ongoing and is due to end early next year. The highly anticipated airdrop of FLR tokens to millions, notably XRP holders, from a December 2020 snapshot, marked Flare's public debut and initiated widespread community participation. This was arguably the biggest token distribution event to date, involving hundreds of exchanges that supported it and participated in this snapshot. And yes, it was truly incredible to witness because it worked flawlessly. At the heart of Flare's progress are the two enshrined oracles powering data and interoperability: the FTSO, which is the Flare Time Series Oracle, and the Flare Data Connector, the FDC. So let's talk about the core protocol growth. A major highlight from the past year has been the launch of the Flare Time Series Oracle version 2, Flare's upgraded, fully enshrined Oracle system. It provides decentralized, reliable, and frequently updated data feeds directly to the Flare blockchain to power a broad range of data-intensive applications, and this cannot go understated. If we have a look at some of the metrics here, we've got the total price updates over 54 million, which is very impressive. Average feed deviation, 0 or less than 0.05%. User queries served 200,000. We've got the security here, the total FLR that is securing the FTSO being 38.8 billion FLR. And you've got to remember that the initial token mintage was 100 billion. Of course, it has increased since then, and still, it's a very impressive number. Uptime, we have 99.976%. This is extremely impressive, and it was just a couple of weeks ago that we did see some downtime, but it was rectified very quickly, and that's why we have such a high uptime rate. Number of supported assets, 60. Now, some of you may not know this, but there are many different assets supported by the Flare Time Series Oracle. You know, obviously there's XRP, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and all of that good stuff, but there are a lot more, and we're going to see some more use cases for these assets, or the prices that are distributed or emitted from the FTSO in the near future, because as part of the Encode program, I do know of a builder that is utilizing these price feeds. The average update latency is 1.8 seconds, which is just one block. Number of providers, 85 plus. This number does fluctuate slightly, but still very impressive. Right, moving along here. Alongside the Flare Time Series Oracle, the Flare Data Connector, the FDC, has enabled developers to access secure, verified data from both other blockchains and Web2 APIs directly on-chain, further strengthening Flare's cross-chain applications like F-Assets. Specifically, it has unlocked new possibilities for Flare DeFi protocols, setting the stage for rapid ecosystem growth, which is where I think we are just about right now. The Flare Data Connector by numbers, current as of writing at Epoch 310. Data providers, 86. data types available, 18, including Bitcoin, Dogecoin, XRP, and on 3 Ethereum virtual machine chains. Number of queries, 234,000. So the FDC, as we know, this is very different from the Fleur time series oracle, which gives data that is in a time series. So with the x-axis being time, and you get data every couple of seconds, such as a price, the Fleur data connector is actually providing attestations. So we could say, did this XRP address send XRP to this address? Tell me yes, tell me no. The consistently growing query volumes for both the Fleur time series oracle and the Fleur data connector underscore the strong demand for Fleur's secure data infrastructure. This foundational infrastructure is pivotal to the F-Assets system, which we anticipate will grow significantly along XRP demand. And as we know, this is anticipated to launch next month. So number 2, let's talk about the DeFi ecosystem growth, which has been explosive in recent months. The past year has been an inflection point for Fleur DeFi, with new protocols, deeper liquidity, and booming activity pushing DeFi to new heights. Looking at some of the metrics here, we've got TVL, which is total value locked, at 170 million, and I actually think this is higher than that at the time of writing. Stablecoin liquidity is set at 150 million. We've got USDT 0 minted on Fleur at over 77.5 million, ready for use in swapping, borrowing, trading perpetuals, and providing liquidity. DEX transactional volume is around $19 million worth every single week. The volume bridged via Stargate is 26 million in USDC, E, and around 2,700 in wrapped Ethereum. So let's talk about the explosive total value locked and stablecoin liquidity. Fleur's integration of USDT 0, which is omni-chain composable version of Tether, in April 2025 led to a massive jump in TVL, more than tripling from 37 million to over 120 million in just 13 days. This dramatic growth is supported by incentives such as RFLR rewards and will be further propelled by the F-Asset Incentive Program, which I did create a video on before, and I'll link that at the top. This strategic incentive is allocating over 2.2 billion FLR over the next year to accelerate institutional-grade DeFi activity on the network, beginning with XRP. And that brings us on to the next section very well. F-Assets and XRP. The past year has also seen the rise of XRP, unlocking DeFi for XRP holders through FXRP and the F-Assets system. Users can mint fully collateralized FXRP to access lending, borrowing, and yield farming, all without giving up ownership of their original XRP. With the F-Asset Protocol version 1.1, the introduction of the Core Vault in March 2025 enabled more scalable FXRP minting and direct redemptions, allowing users to seamlessly access XRP-based DeFi with greater liquidity and efficiency. FXRP is currently live on Fleur's Canary network, Songbird, and is set for main stage when F-Assets go live on the Fleur mainnet. In addition, the upcoming launch of Staked XRP will allow Firelight to introduce staking for XRP, basically swapping FXRP for its staked alternative. It's an ERC20 token that remains liquid and usable on Fleur DeFi while still earning rewards. This combination of F-Assets and XRP staking solution creates XRP flywheel on Fleur, where users can unlock new yield opportunities, move seamless between lending, staking, and liquidity pools, and keep value circulating throughout the ecosystem. So speaking of the ecosystem and their partners, you can see there's quite a broad range here. Lots of different applications, all participating in DeFi and bridging and all sorts of infrastructure services. Very well received there. Flur's vision for a more open and interoperable and data-driven Web3 has attracted the growing number of high-profile partners and integrations. Probably the highest here is Google Cloud, which was announced in January of 2024. It's an official validator and data provider on the Fleur network, which brings enterprise-grade security and infrastructure to the network, as well as advancing Fleur's push into verifiable AI. We had Kraken Exchange integrating USDT 0 on Fleur, and this just happened a few months ago. This enhances Fleur's ecosystem accessibility to the $140 billion stablecoin liquidity with fast, low-cost, and omni-chain transfers. This was actually bigger than what I think people realize. It allows a direct link for Tether to and from the Kraken Exchange without having to go to other networks as an intermediary bridge. There was an announcement recently from BitGo in June of this year, which offers regulated custody for FLR and SGB, enabling institutional access to the Fleur network with full compliance in both the US and Europe. And of course, last month we also got the big news from Vivo Power, which partnered with Fleur for its $100 million in XRP treasury strategically, showcasing real-world use cases and institutional appeal for the network. This is going to allow Vivo Power to utilize their XRP by minting FXRP and earning a yield for their stockholders. EasyA partnered last month with Fleur to launch a developer series to onboard XRPL builders and grow adoption across the XRP-Fi stack. Finally, this month we got some news from TrustSwap, which integrated SparkDex to deliver a full token launch and management suite for Fleur builders, making it easier than ever for new projects to fundraise, manage liquidity, and launch tokens securely on the Fleur network. Each partnership added another key component to Fleur's foundation, helping to secure, expand, and diversify the ecosystem for the years ahead. One thing that I believe they have neglected is the partnership with Uphold, which was very promising and, again, very similar to Vivo Power. They're going to be basically using the XRP to gain a yield for their user base, and this really does highlight the institutional demand for such a feature. Community activation. So community has always been crucial for Fleur's growth and development. In Fleur's 3 years history, we have built new initiatives and campaigns designed to motivate and engage the vibrant community. So if you didn't know, there's the Fleur Content Bounty. Fleur partnered with Bountycaster to inspire creators to make high-quality educational content about Fleur. The bounty saw creative submissions from all mediums, demonstrating the creative ability and passion of Fleur's community. We also saw the launch of the Fleur Fair, which launched a gamified on-chain event designed to make DeFi exploration more engaging and easy to use for everyone. This was done by rewarding users for direct participation. Fleur Fair encouraged newcomers and veterans to experience what's possible on Fleur, which led to a surge in network activity. We recently saw the launch of the Fleur Community Growth Grant, which is ongoing. Fleur has just launched the Community Growth Grant, a $100,000 grassroots funds designed to empower local leaders and organizers to grow the Fleur ecosystem from the ground up. The grant supports hand-on initiatives like in real-life events and educational content to help onboard new users. So let's look at 2025 and beyond. In 3 years, Fleur has evolved from an ambitious vision to a thriving network that is powering millions of transactions and enabling real-world DeFi for assets like XRP. Fleur's infrastructure is stronger than it was 3 years ago. Every partnership, every upgrade, every initiative, each has laid the groundwork for what's followed, and will continue to do so for what is next. This is just the beginning for Fleur, with major launches and partnerships on the horizon. 2025 is shaping up to be Flur's most transformative year yet, and we're more committed than ever to building a truly open, decentralized future built on data and interoperability. Flur would like to thank the community, the developers, and the partners for being a central part of Flur's journey thus far. Here's to an even brighter future. Well, that is it. Of course, we do have the generic disclaimer here. I thought it was a great article and a great recap as well. I think one thing that is important to note is that a lot of people say, it's been 3 years and you've shipped nothing, because a lot of people have their blinkers on thinking about F assets like this is the holy grail and that's all Flur is known for. Let me tell you this, Flur is much bigger than FXRP. Flur's vision and scope has expanded over the years, and although FXRP and F assets are a very novel use case, this is not the biggest thing that Flur will have to offer. Again, I'm going to be talking about this in future videos in much more detail, but with that out of the way, happy birthday to the Flur network. I would like to thank you all so much for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to take your support to the next level, check the Patreon link below. Have yourself an incredible day, and until next time, I'm out.
Mission Control, we have liftoff.